Hello and welcome to This Week in Wrestling. As always, I will kick us off with the Monday night show, that is Monday Night Raw. And the card for this week, we saw The Miz kicking off the show, talking about his rematch that he wants with Bobby Lashley. We don't do
rematches anymore.
Well, we get the rematch. We get Bobby Lashley versus The Miz. With Bobby Lashley winning.
Fuck Drew.
He wins that one. Braun Strowman comes out and demands an apology from Shane McMahon.
And the audience is left wondering, for what?
Why? But why?
What we apologise. What has he done to upset you again?
We
Please
then
remind us.
Got a no disqualification match with Drew McIntyre taking on Sheamus, which, despite being no disqualification, ended in a no contest. Interesting. We had Xavier Woods taking on Shelton Benjamin, with Xavier Woods picking up the win. We had Riddle versus Slapjack, and I haven't even put anyone who won. I imagine it was Riddle, probably. Who knows?
I imagine Riddle, because
it was
Slapjack win.
It was forgettable. Let's put it that way. Shane McMahon has something else to say to Braun Strowman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
The women's tag titles were on the line as Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler defended against Lana and Naomi, with Nia and Shayna retaining. And the main event of the evening got us seeing AJ Styles taking on Randy Orton, with AJ Styles picking up the win. Yeah, why the fuck not?
That be in the main event.
Why the fuck not? That's why.
No disrespect. Let's start this fucking thing moaning, Carl. I know you're going to go for the highest. Why the fuck was that the main event and not
Bobby or Miz or Drew or Sheamus
or Drew or Sheamus? Either one of
women's
those
tag titles
would have made sense, right? Well, let's not get out of hand here, Carl. No one gives a shit about the women's tag titles.
Well, at least it was titles on the line.
I'm not being disrespectful to women when I say that, but the women's tag titles are fucking shit, right? We'll talk about that some more when I get to NXT. But how the fuck was that the main event?
I have no idea. But talking about highlights.
Raw last week to this.
Talking about highlights.
Nope.
To be honest, the whole start to the show I thought was really good. Miz came out and cut a pretty fantastic promo, to be fair. And the rematch itself was great as well. It finally made Lashley look like he belongs. Even though it was only the Miz, you could still see that he looked and felt like a champion. They gave him a new entrance, and he made pretty handiwork of the Miz as well. So really good showing for Bobby. We said this before, they've really fucking booked themselves into a corner with this, but I'll talk about that in a minute. My other highlight, and the only other highlight I've got for the show, is just Drew and Sheamus. I fucking love them too. This was brutal. They've got such immense chemistry.
This was a good match, Carl. But how fucking cartoonishly stupid was them running at each other with the fucking steps, man?
It was very stupid. So, yeah, the match itself I thought was fine, right? The problem is, it was a no DQ match, and the fucking finish was a referee stoppage. So, I don't understand that at all, right? But
no, that's a fuck up.
Cartoony, in the sense that they run at each other with steel steps, they both hit each other. Drew fucking flies over the fucking barricade, was cartoony enough, and then they can't continue, really. Okay, so it didn't do the best. And this is
all they done that screwy finish because we know we're not done with these two feuding.
Yeah, but what does that mean though? So are we going to get this at Fastlane? Is that the plan? And then we're going to get maybe Drew against Bobby at Mania?
I think so, because I don't think they're going to do Drew Bobby for Fastlane. I think they are saving that for Mania. Because I don't think Drew's... It kind of annoys me that they do this with people sometimes, but Drew seems to just not give a shit about the title right now. And they're trying to paint it like he's trying to deal with Sheamus first, but Sheamus was never a big obstacle for him anyway. It was the Miz who screwed him. So, it seems weird that he's not focused on it at all, but that's what they're doing. They're delaying time. Same thing they do with Karrion Kross on NXT. We're delaying time. We know where the fuck he's headed. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I still think that they're running out of things to do in the road to WrestleMania, because way back when it was the Royal Rumble and then it was WrestleMania. Way back when they didn't have a No Way Out or a Fastlane or whatever, and then we've had all the No Way Outs.
Didn't they have a Backlash between the two at one point as well? Or?
I think Backlash was after
Was it after?
Mania. Yeah, like
Oh, I thought it was like
the
between.
backlash from WrestleMania.
Oh, that
I
makes
guess.
a bit of sense actually.
But yeah, so I don't know. It's just you have someone win the Royal Rumble, and then what you do then? Do you know what I mean? Up until
Yeah,
Mania.
and the annoying thing is they can't build any. Like, look at Edge now. Edge is building up a storyline with Roman, so that straight away makes you go right. So Roman's going to be the one at Mania then with the belt. So that adds no legitimacy to the title match at Fastlane because we already know what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. So not great. And speaking of not great, there was some more shites on Raw this week, Anthony. Several, especially Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon. Why? Why do we get this? Not just one, but two separate segments.
Look, I'm not being funny. When you start a feud with the best wrestler in the world, you need two segments.
I mean, you do make a pretty good point. But, like, this took up about 20 minutes of total time on this. Like,
yeah, 20 minutes of a 3-hour show was these two.
Seriously? So, first of all, he comes out and demands an apology, and Shane's just, like, basically calling him stupid, and it's like, no. Okay, I'm sorry. And then he walks off, and he's like, I've got something else to say, but I'm not going to say it. And then eventually he goes, actually, I am going to say it. Comes back out, calls him stupid a few more times, runs away. Braun chases after him. He sees a car speeding off and thinks it's Shane. And Shane's like, that wasn't me. He is stupid. It's like, really? You're doing a fucking feud based on the fact that Braun's stupid? We could have told you that from the fucking, from day one. It's not a new revelation, is it? Jesus. So
WWE's Revelation pay-per-view.
Oh, don't even do it.
Sorry.
So yeah, awful, and no one even wants to see Braun and Shane at fucking WrestleMania.
I'm not sure why this came into their minds at all. No one was asking for it. It was never a thought or a thing.
Oh, it happens. It happens every year at WrestleMania, doesn't it? If you think about it, if you look at who Shane's faced in the last few WrestleManias, he's always there. He's always facing some fucker. We had AJ Styles, he had Undertaker.
I don't know what it is about this particular one. I just can't be arsed with Shane's little comeback against Braun this time around, because that's what's going to happen. Braun's going to be battering him, and at some point he's going to come back and do his little flurry of punches that he thinks looks really good, and even though it doesn't, and then he's going to jump off something really big, and I'm just like, I can't. It's just too paint by numbers. I can't be bothered.
It's the Shane McMahon way. But,
the Shane way. The way. Right.
And speaking of the way, Charlotte as a face. I've got to bring it up again. I've got to bring it up again. Well, you'd never fucking think so, would you? Because there was a segment backstage with fucking Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke, and Charlotte's there, looking down on them, going, "Do you know what? I'm ambitious. You guys have got 5 weeks to show that your bite's as big as your bark." And it's like, you're meant to be a good guy. What are you being a dick for? Like,
also,
haven't you?
Who the fuck said she could set time limits? The prick.
Well, yeah, I think she means it's 5 weeks till WrestleMania, to prove the date.
And then what's gonna? Yeah, but my point when you're saying that, what's gonna happen?
Well, yeah, I don't know.
What are you gonna do?
But yeah,
you're probably gonna get your fucking title match anyway, regardless of whoever bites you or barks or whatever.
That's what doesn't make sense. She's basically saying, well, I'm ambitious and I'm going to prove that I should be facing Asuka. If you guys want to prove that it should be you instead of me, then you've got 5 weeks to prove it. And it's like, well, they're just going to book you anyway because you're a fucking you're Charlotte.
Unless was that always the problem? Like they're all backstage and none of them had enough ambition to go, I want a match, because that's all she did.
Well, exactly. So, basically, nothing new here. Charlotte sucks. Don't like her. And also, Anthony, I'm keen to get your thoughts on this. The Fiend stuff is just overdone now, right? Again,
I feel like there's a reason the Fiend's not here right now, because there's no way they can have him not involved for this fucking long.
Yeah, I'd love to know what is going on, because again, it's the same shit. Alexa Bliss comes on the fucking Titantron, and again, Randy Orton starts fucking throwing up black fucking shit out of his gob. Like, I'm pretty lenient.
Oh, do you know what? Ultimately, that's not going to mean anything either.
Well, exactly, right? I every week I talk about fucking Sting in AEW coming out, cutting the same fucking promo. We talk about Roman Reigns on SmackDown, opening the show, right? After a while, yeah, it's it plateaus and you get a bit bored of it. I'm fucking bored of this now, and it's a shame because it's just 1 week too many.
This is literally like when you were saying like, "Oh, we're sick of seeing Alexa Bliss," there's something wrong here.
Yeah,
Because she's awesome. She's always
exactly.
been a great character, and we've always enjoyed her segments. Whether she's been the snarky heel doing a moment of bliss, whether she's been the face character that she was with Nikki Cross, or even this stuff she's doing now has been awesome. And it's a shame that we're getting to a point now when you kind of, I don't think we're quite there, but you kind of almost roll your eyes when she appears because you know it's going to be something just like either the same old shit or
Paint
a
by
bit
numbers,
stupid.
formulaic to
Yeah,
the max. She's gonna come on. She's gonna, do a little laugh. She's gonna look at whatever the fuck it is. She's like, is it dice or something? I don't know what it is she does. And
mm,
then she'll be like, yeah, he's coming soon. Not yet though. And then yeah, someone will be sick or something. It's like, all right.
yeah. And I don't want to disrespect her because she's doing really good work with that character. It's just like you say, it's just getting one too many now where it's the same thing.
Yeah,
And this is because they've had this plan for a while and they've not had enough story to get it to WrestleMania, which is where it's going to be.
yeah, I agree. And that being said, I'm going to shock you here, Anthony, because all in all, it was still an alright week of Raw. I don't know whether I've just lowered my standards or what, but for a second week in a row, I thought it was alright. You had the opening to the show, you had the Lashley and Miz thing, you had the Sheamus and Drew thing. I know the ending was fucking stupid. Like, all in all, it was alright. Do you know what I mean? They didn't do too many things wrong other than fucking Shane McMahon and maybe the thing that's gone on just a little bit too long now with the Fiend and Orton. So I'm going to give it a 2.5. I think it was like I'm saying. Don't get me wrong; it's not setting the fucking world on fire, but a 2.5 is good for Raw. So I thought it was all right.
Yeah. You know what? I can probably meet you at 2.5. I think that's
Okay,
fair.
see you there.
Fair assessment.
And speaking
So,
of fair assessments,
let's talk NXT, shall we?
let's do it.
So, as far as the card goes, we have the night being opened by one William Regal. Always nice to see him, to be fair. Announcing two things, Carl. He announced two things. He announced the NXT Women's Tag Team titles because fuck it, why not? And he announced the next upcoming takeover, which is going to be a 2-night takeover known as Standard Delivery, I believe. Sorry, Stand and Deliver. Stand and
Next
Deliver.
day delivery. Yeah.
So we've got a 2-night NXT, and I need to speak about that shortly. 2-night NXT, sorry, 2-night takeover. We then have our first match of the night, which is actually a women's title match. Io Shirai going up against Toni Storm, with Io Shirai taking the win. We then saw Pete Dunne go up against Jake Atlas, with Pete Dunne taking the win. We then see Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez going up against Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart for the tag team. Moon and Blackheart taking the win. We then had Caden Carter going up against Xia Li, which ended in a DQ. So technically Xia Li won it, but due to the DQ fuckery. We had a tag match between the Grizzled Young Veterans and Legado del Fantasma, with Legado del Fantasma taking the win. And we closed the night off with an NXT title match, which is Finn Balor going up against Adam Cole, with Finn Balor taking the win. That's our card. Highlights, you say? I have two, Carl.
Okay.
The Io Shirai and Toni Storm match was fucking brilliant. They work really well together. Thoroughly enjoyable match. And to be fair, yeah, probably the right result at this point. Yeah. Boss. Right. My next highlight is sort of the main event. It was a good match, and they work well together. And I was scrambling for another highlight, if I'm honest, so I went with that one. It's an I'm not going to knock it too much. It was an enjoyable match. I do need to moan about some things, and I'll explain why it kind of has a downer to it as well when we go to the O'Shites. But all in all, 2 matches of the night were these two. These are the ones to watch. The rest was kind of filler, as we tend to get with NXT. So as far as highlights go, I've not got much else. And you might think to yourself, but they announced the next takeover, and they announced it's going to be a 2-night takeover. How's that not a highlight? It's fucking why. They've barely got enough content to fill one fucking night. Like, let's be honest, right, Carl? Last year when they did a 2-night WrestleMania, and I don't knock WrestleMania last year because obviously we had a lot to deal with, right? But I think we both agreed that could have been one really good night.
Yeah.
Didn't have to be 2 nights. It could have been one really good night rather than 2 okay nights. And this is WrestleMania, and this is Raw and SmackDown being included, and this had some NXT as well. If you bear in mind Rhea Ripley's match and so on, so this had all the marbles involved, and it was barely worth being 2 nights. And I don't want to sound too extreme because they were dealing with what they were dealing with, and it was a really good WrestleMania. How the fuck is NXT Takeover going to be over 2 nights when they've got one smaller show by themselves with barely any story built up?
I guess it's just going to be a load of matches.
Why is this a good thing?
I don't have any story.
So I'll be interested to see how they pull it off, because they're going to have to do a lot of fucking legwork between now and then.
Yep.
Let's see. And that's why it wasn't a highlight, because I think it's a stupid idea. Speaking of stupid ideas, my other shite is the NXT Women's Tag Team titles. Because I think, given the size of the Women's Tag Team roster, I know they've thrown a load together for the Dusty Classic, but let's be honest, there's not a lot of established women's tag teams, and the women's roster is still not. I suppose it's fair size now, to be honest. But in any case, I think it should have been one set of tag titles, and I'm not being sexist or biased when I say this, because I keep saying this about the men's tag titles as well. One set of belts would make it all a lot more interesting, and it kind of annoys me that they're going the same direction with this. So now we have exclusively NXT tag titles. So we have a set of women's tag titles that can be defended on both Raw and SmackDown, and then NXT get their own. And I just don't get why not move across the fucking 3 of them? It doesn't make any sense to me. And this was their perfect excuse to get talent from SmackDown and Raw to appear on NXT to help boost the fucking ratings. Why would you do what you've just done? It doesn't make any sense. And it felt like they were building up to a rematch as well with Baszler and Jax. And that's not going to happen now. And I'll tell you why it's not going to happen, because the other fucking shite is the fact that the titles changed hands on the first fucking night. Some people really enjoyed this, and I don't get it. So we had Dakota Kai and Gonzalez being sort of inaugurated, as it were, as the tag titles, and tag champs. Sorry, they weren't the titles themselves. That'd be weird. They were given the championship by Regal when he announced the belts. So you go, sounds they are the champs. They earned it through what they went through last week, etc. But they haven't had a match with them. So what we're going to do, we're going to defend the titles tonight and lose them straight away. Yeah, boss, hasn't it? So that's helped them as a tag team. And yeah, I don't mind Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart as a tag team, and credit to them for being the champs now. But why go for the title switch like first night? Why not have them successfully defend them at least fucking once?
Yeah, it was a baffling call, I thought, because why go through the whole fucking inauguration and then just because they won the fucking classic, didn't they? And then they went on to have that match that they got screwed out of it basically. So they were given the belts,
it felt like they were
and then they lose
them.
And then it's like, well, that was pointless.
Yep. So yes, that had to be an shite as well. And then my last one, Carl, because I won't go on all night. My last shite was Finn Balor. Sadly, the main event was good. The match itself was decent, but Finn, typically, as he has done in the past, and to be honest, as he seems to have done since he's gone back to NXT, he's just channeling that Orange Cassidy energy. Because for someone who was like, he's going to hurt Adam Cole for what he's done and all this kind of stuff, it was kind of low effort, if I'm honest. Like, I don't know how to explain it. The match wasn't, but like the match was good, but the passion wasn't there. If that makes any sense. It felt like Finn was rather indifferent to the whole thing, in all honesty. They still worked well together. They're still great technically. They still have good chemistry in the ring. So that, on that level, you can look at it built. But where was the drive or the storytelling and the emotion and that sort of thing? It just wasn't there. He was just like, he was there for the ride, but and that's how it felt anyway to me. I don't know if you have a similar opinion, but
I mean, that's how I feel when I watch NXT. I'm there for the ride, so I don't really hold any strong emotional ties to any of it, really.
But yeah, because there was probably more bits that pissed me off than previous NXTs, and because there wasn't a lot going on with this NXT. As far as a rating goes, Carl, I'd probably have to give this one a 1.5. It was quite a weak week. A weak week.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm going to agree with you, mate. I thought Like Finn Cole was all right, but at the same time, it did feel a bit like meh because we all know that carrying is the big thing.
There's another thing. Like, I don't know how you feel about it. I didn't put it as no shade because it doesn't particularly bother me, but I've seen a lot of comments on this that the setting this Finn carrying thing up with just Finn turns up and stares him out, and you're like, oh, sorry, carrying turns up and stares Finn out, and that's them setting that up, and it's like, okay, that was a really good bit of build up to their match, wasn't it? Like, didn't seem like any effort in that story either, if we're honest.
Yeah.
And I can see the point. I wasn't as aggrieved by it because I'm just glad we're finally getting to a fucking point where Karrion Kross is going to be in the title scene. But yeah, in all fairness, yeah, it was just a case of like, yeah, I'm coming for you, TikTok and all that. And I mean, I suppose that's what he does anyway, isn't it? But,
coming for you on TikTok. He's gonna do some fucking dancing in there.
Yeah, he's gonna mime to WAP.
Oh God.
So God. So that it's not an no-shake, but I thought I'd mention it because it comes to my mind when you mentioned about that's where we're headed, because we're clearly where we're headed, but they just
You mean he's not going to have another feud with fucking, Santos Escobar or anything? No?
I don't know. He might be like...
Not for the Cruiserweight belt?
You, Finn, and then he starts like walking and then, I don't know, Cameron Grimes hits his peripheral vision and they end up in a feud. I don't know.
It could happen. Let's be honest. It is NXT. So
what happened?
But, Anthony, let's move on to the superior Wednesday night show. Come at me, NXT fanboys.
Come at me, bro.
Come at me, bro. So the card this week for Dynamite is we had Matt Jackson taking on Rey Fenix, with Rey Fenix picking up the win. We had Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley commenting on what exactly happened post-exploding barbed wire deathmatch.
Okay.
We had Cody Rhodes taking on Seth Gargis. Seth. With Cody picking up the win, Shakara. We had Lee Johnson taking on Ethan Page, with Ethan Page picking up the win. Christian Cage's first interview gets interrupted.
But don't worry, next week Christian speaks. And the week after, Christian's going to get interviewed by Tony Schiavone.
Yeah.
Sorry.
On the same card, Sting will speak too. We have
week 7, Christian speaks to Sting. Oh, for fuck's sake.
About TNA Impact. Anyway, so we had a 6-woman tag with Hikaru Shida and Thunder Rosa teaming up with Ryo Mizunami to take on Britt Baker, Nyla Rose, and Maki Ito, with Shida, Rosa, and Mizunami picking up the win. The TNT title was on the line with the winner of the Face of the Revolution, ladder match, Scorpio Sky taking on Darby Allin, and Darby Allin picked up that win and retained.
Yeah. Darby, such a cool millennial. Tony Hawk got to have a go of his belt because he's such a cool millennial. He's like
so cool. He's so cool.
I'm nothing against Darby Allin.
No, definitely don't hate Darby. And the main event, if you want to call it that, was the Inner Circle War Council.
An interesting choice to close the night with it, actually.
Another Inner Circle talking segment. I bet when you saw this advertised, you were like, oh God. But maybe some shit happened. Let's find out.
Shit did
happen. Certainly some shit. I kid. So, in terms of highlights, another solid opening. So, Rey Fenix, man, I say this every time I see him. He's just so fucking good. He might be the best. Him and Kenny Omega, the two best wrestlers on AEW. I'm going to throw it out there.
I kind of want to call him underrated, but I don't know if it's me underrating him, if that makes any sense. Because I kind of forget about him, and then I see him in a match and go, he's really fucking good. And then I go back to forgetting about him. No, not meaning any disrespect when I say that, by the way, but like, is he like, do other people appreciate him and it's just me underrating him, or is he underrated? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I think he's got that kind of spot on the card that doesn't warrant his ability, but there's a lot of people like that in AEW. I think they can't fit them all over the place. Like, I'd love to see him get a TNT title run at some point, because I just think he's so fucking good. But
when Darby's finished.
Well, yeah, Darby that you don't hate.
But
yeah, at the minute he's obviously kind of teaming up with Pac, isn't he? So it'd be interesting to see what comes of that, if anything, whether they get like tag titles or what. But yeah, just so good, man, and a really solid opening as we've come to know and expect from Dynamite. So yeah, interesting. I don't think that they're going to dethrone the Bucks, if I'm honest. But obviously it builds that feud up quite nicely if Phoenix does have a win over one half of the champions. So nice little opening, and it made sense. Eddie Kingston and Moxley, man, you've got to love them. You've got to love them. They tried their best. They did their best effort to try and save face after the little whimper of an explosion at Revolution.
I don't want to knock that effort too much, but I was kind of a little bit like, guys, you're making it worse. Just stop talking, please.
Yeah,
a little bit. Some elements were good, but overall, I'm like, just don't.
I liked them as a pair. I liked the way they were riffing off each other and joking and stuff like that. But yeah, the excuses and stuff like that, I don't know. But I enjoyed seeing them together as friends, and
yeah,
it's good that he is.
Banter. Like, I think there's a point when Kingston was sort of like corpsing at stuff Moxley was saying.
Yeah,
and bits. So you can definitely see the friendship between the two of them, which is nice, and it's entertaining.
And I think that's what people wanted. It's just a shame that they've got to ruin bits of that to try and come up with rationale behind what happened. But hopefully that'll all go away pretty soon, and they won't have to address it again, and they can just focus on being these cool drinking buddies like they want to be. So that was a highlight for me because they tried. So fair play.
They tried, yeah. Participation medals all round.
Well, exactly. Right, the Cody match was not to shout home about. It was just a generic squash. Well, right. The match itself wasn't, because it was a squash, but obviously it's a Cody segment. So, basically, after the match, he gets interrupted by Penta. And do you know what? Fuck it, I'm into it, man. So he basically said on the mic, if Cody is the Prince of Pro Wrestling, then you may as well call him the Lord of Lucha Libre. And I just loved that. I thought it was so good. But like, similar to Phoenix, Penta is another one who is probably underrated and undervalued. So to see him get a bit of a breakout now and go into potentially a little feud with Cody, he basically got on the mic afterwards, but he doesn't really speak much English, so he had one of the Spanish announce guys translate for him. I'm not sure whether they're going to set that up as like a manager thing or what. But basically he said something along the lines of after he's finished with him, he's not going to be able to, pick up his baby daughter, and then obviously Cody lost it, and they had to fucking pull them apart and stuff. So yeah, fair play. I'm into it. Not gonna lie. So I can see this being really, really good, to be fair, as long as they just don't carry on, doing crazy shit in terms of storyline. Just keep it to them having a match would be great. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I'm all for it, but I think it does have the danger, and I hate to see this now because I'll say this with any match Cody's involved in, but it does have the danger of being overbooked and overproduced.
Yeah, I mean, they've already started off. It's not just I'm going to call you out. He's brought his unborn daughter into it and stuff. So, yeah. We'll see. The next
dog next, it's just going to be a way too much.
So, kidnap his dog and use one of the sparkles from the Revolution thing to scare him. Anyway, so we had the next highlight is Hangman. I just love the fact that he's just going around spending all of my Hardy's money. So funny the way he's doing it. He's just bought a ride on lawnmower. He's just donated some to charity, buying bits and bobs, just stupid random shit. And I love that he's just bros with the Dark Order now, to be fair. So
I really love what they turned the Dark Order into, to be honest.
Yeah, it's sick, isn't it?
I don't think you can keep the whole mystic evil thing now with obviously the tragedy that happened with everyone with Brody. I think they need to be, because naturally we want to like them now. You know what I mean? Because we got to know them on an emotional level, and we got to see how devastated they were over losing such an awesome guy. It's hard to sort of book them as heels, and I think they've done the right thing, making them more approachable and more fun in that way.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, to be fair, Hangman has needed something to do. I'm going to call this now. I think the one to dethrone Omega, if it isn't, Christian, which we'll get on to, could be Hangman. It's it needs to be, because it makes the most sense.
Actually coming back around, definitely, yeah.
It's got they've got the most history there. Hangman, he's got all that burden of never winning it. He's had his chances and he's lost both times, and caused even more drinking. So maybe the Dark Order are going to be the ones that finally build him up enough to be able to win that belt eventually. So that's what I'm calling, and I think Hangman. I'm enjoying him, and I do think he's going to be a future world champ. So don't count out Hangman Page. So that is good. I didn't right. This has had some ups and downs when you look around, but I didn't mind the Kenny Omega stuff either. So right, again, they're going on about it too much, aren't they? And they probably should just forget about it and let it die. But
Yeah.
right, they fucked
To be
up
honest,
and they're talking about
if
it.
I'm
They're saying
honest,
it.
the person to sell this should have been Kenny.
Yeah.
It's actually the Mox Kingston stuff that I would have left alone. Kenny needed to come out and address this because he's the one who apparently did it deliberately. And that's the sell right there, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, exactly. The problem is, though, the reason why they needed to do something with Mox and Kingston was because there was two things at fault. One, the pyro didn't go off. And two, Kingston lay there like a fucking dead fish for no reason.
Had a nap on top of
So
his mate.
something had to be explained for that. So that's why them two did that. But then obviously Omega, he's now trying to say about the pyro and stuff, isn't he? But the thing that I just thought it was so funny where he was just taking the piss out of Eddie and he was like, he just lay down. It was like 69 me, Don, 69 me, and I don't know why. But
do you know what though? That's
just
become
got
so quotable. People like are giving it shit for them, like so trying to explain this fuck up. But at the same time, that's become so infamously quotable now. People are loving that whole 69 me Don thing. That's gonna be a shirt. If it's not already, that's gonna be a shirt.
I just laughed out loud so much. It was so funny, man. So funny.
Yeah, Omega is a heel. Okay, I'll give it. It's good. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I've shat on him for a good couple of weeks now because he was doing so well, and then he went into this weird thing where he's reading fucking books to children.
I think this is the trouble when you leave him to sort of vamp with no real direction. That's what you get reading books and stuff. When he's got to focus, so he's coming out to basically talk Moxley down and give the pair of them shit. That's when it works.
Yeah, I think you're right there.
He's good at being an asshole, weirdly.
Yeah, he is. And then Christian Cage came out as well. So basically, he was meant to be having an interview, but it didn't happen. So yeah, I don't know. He basically kind of had a bit of a stare off with Omega, and then Omega went to cheap shot him. Christian went to put him in the. I don't really know what he calls it anymore. It used to be called like the Impaler, didn't it? I don't know what. I think he changed the name of it or something. But went to hit him with his finish anyway. But then fucking Don pulled him out before it could happen. So yeah, it looks like they're going straight to the main event with Christian Cage, which, to be fair, based on the his name and the level of his name, he probably belongs in the main event, doesn't he? So interesting if they go straight for that. Just get off, right? What is it with you? So basically, what you're saying is Edge is the good one and Matt Hardy's the good one. So you're saying AEW's got one good one and WWE's got the other good one. That's what you're saying, isn't it? Because you hate Jeff and now you clearly hate Christian.
Well, yeah, let's have the wonderful tag team of Jeff and Christian. That'll work. No, I don't know. Like, I I've no reason. I can't argue with you, Carl. I can't justify my reasons. I'm not a fan of the fact that the build up was for Christian and the fact that he's straight in the main event scene. It doesn't sit well with me. And I'll be sat here on the other side of it when you're pissed off with it too, going, "I fucking told you so."
Let's see, you mark.
It's a gut feeling, Carl. It's a gut feeling. I'm not easy with this. Let's
see. I think it'll be fine. Because next week Christian Cage is going to talk. So yeah, have that. And then the last highlight I want to talk about. Finally, Anthony. Sometimes finally, the MJF has come back with his own stable. So we've been talking about this for weeks. You've not been super keen. I've held faith of something going to happen, and we still got to swerve, in my opinion, because this whole thing, Jericho eating the pin at Revolution, and then Jericho there saying, yeah, I think we need to maybe add a member, and then he's like, no, I think maybe we need to kick out a member, and then Guevara shows up and goes, no. He shows this video, and it looked like MJF had managed to get everyone convinced to kick out Jericho. They all look like they're going to turn on Jericho, but then it's a ruse because they're all in on it together, and they all go to MJF, and it's like, oh shit, your plans backfired, MJF. Oh no. And then he goes, no, I don't want to break it up. I was too busy building my own. And the lights go out. And who is it? Wardlow, FTR, Sean Spears, and Tully Blanchard are all stood there getting proper Four Horsemen type vibes. and they just obliterate the Inner Circle. And it was a swerve. And if you say you saw it coming, you're a damn dirty liar because you didn't. I liked it. It was good.
I didn't see it coming. If I overanalyze it, I would question why he bothered joining the Inner Circle. It didn't help him or even aid him to build his own faction. But whatever. The fact that we're getting to this place where you can now get your matches like Hager versus Wardlow, and obviously FTR will be going up against Santana and Ortiz and that sort of thing. Yeah, I'm all for it. Sean Spears will probably go up against Guevara. It's all there. It writes itself. I'm all for it. I think it's really good, and I think the way they brought them out and the sort of the shock moments worked really fucking well. And like you say, there's no way you could have predicted it. But as the only gripe I've got is if you look at it too much, you go, why did you spend a few weeks with the Inner Circle at all then, if you were just going to build your own faction?
The only thing I can think of is he was wise to the fact that he was trying to convince them and it wasn't going to work and they were going to turn. But I don't know.
He had genuine intentions of joining them but realised this isn't working, so he's like a couple of weeks ago started
maybe his original plan was to usurp them and then was like, nah. But do you know what? I don't know, because if you think about it, if you go way back to early COVID times, the seeds were already there because he was doing bets with Sean Spears, wasn't he? He was betting on matches with him and stuff. And when FTR came in, he had a little bit to do with them as well. Like you saw him in the back.
To be fair, the combination's actually really quite logical when you look at it. Like, you understand how they've all ended up in this faction with him. And I noticed you alluded to it before. This might give Sean Spears something to do, which is good.
Maybe.
Instead of just changing his hairstyle and wearing a glove.
I mean, do you need to do more than that? I don't think you do.
I mean, that's pretty much that's the highlight reel of his time in AEW so far, so he needs to do something.
That is true. But yeah, I thought it was a great ending to the show, and it was, I was shocked, and that is good. Now, indeed, for the shite, Anthony. And I've got a couple of them as well. So, firstly, no, Lance Archer, why? You were just starting to be decent. I was starting to like you, and then you come out in the middle of, Sting talks and go, Sting's got too much mic time. I don't get any, and walks away. And why? What does it even mean? What's it mean, though? Like, are we going to get Sting and Lance Archer? Nobody wants that. You get Sting versus fucking Jake. Like, what? I don't get it. I just don't get it, Anthony. I don't.
But he's not wrong. Sting has way too much mic time.
Yes, but he is Sting. Oh, sorry.
It's Sting.
That's my best Tony Schiavone impression.
That's pretty good, actually. That's pretty good.
Thank you. So that was the first one. The next one, oh my God, man, right? How many times did he need to have technical issues? Fuck's sake. So all the way through Ethan Page's debut fucking match, on Dynamite, we get NBA sound, right? It's just the fucking audio of the NBA game, and it's just like, really?
How is this happening?
Like, it's stuff like this that just makes them seem so amateur. It's not the first time this has happened either. It happens way too often. And you're on a network like TNT. It's not a small network. Do you know what I mean? Like, how did they manage to fuck up?
We don't expect them to be competing with WWE on a production value point of view, because their production's on point for WWE, to be honest. So we don't expect them to be at that level, but like you say, not doing shit like this.
Yeah. Like, it was literally the audio was fucked for the whole match, so I can't even really say Ethan Page and Lee Johnson was good or not, because I was so distracted. I couldn't really watch it. It was practically unwatchable. Yeah.
Especially because you quite like the NBA, so you were probably listening in quite intently.
I was like, defense! But, like, I mean, maybe it's not the worst thing in the world, because they've started some weird thing with QT Marshall and fucking Dustin Rhodes now, that I don't really care about either. So, maybe it was good. Maybe it saved me from that, because they're having a bit of a fallout. Oh, no. Another shite. Big Money Matt has now signed the Butcher and the Blade, because they're not with Eddie Kingston anymore, and they need something to do, I guess. I don't know why. I just wish they would stop it. They're not going to. They're not going to give up. But yeah, I don't like Big Money Matt.
Butcher and the Blade just exist in their own right.
Exactly. They've got the bunny. They don't need anyone else. Bunny's cool.
Yeah, like they rock up to the line with MJF. Then they join Kingston after dressing a bit like sailors or whatever they were doing for a while. And then now they're signing with Big Money Matt. Like, just be a fucking tag team.
Yeah, but they're going to dress like, big wads of cash. So then that'd be okay. And then the last shite I've got this week. I'm not too sure on the Scorpio Sky heel turn. So obviously Scorpio and Darby have a match. After the match, Scorpio loses his shit basically and tries to break the ankle of Darby Allin.
That was a heel turn.
That was a heel turn. Like literally, he turned his heel.
I thought he was turning face.
Hey.
I was like, yeah, go Scorpio. but I'm nothing against Darby at all.
Yeah, of course not. Why do you hate him so much? I like Darby.
I don't. I'm just leaving this whole misconception you've decided to give out.
But yeah, so I'm not too sure I'm sold on that. But also, what irked me even more than anything else was how big of a deal they made around the tunnels. So there's 2 tunnels, isn't there? It's meant to be that the good guys come out of one side of the tunnel and the bad guys come out of the other. And they literally were like, he went in the other tunnel. It's like...
Is that a thing?
Really? Yeah. But it's like, it doesn't need to be brought up every 2 minutes.
So what's Cody?
he comes up through the fucking thing, doesn't he? Yeah, exactly. That's another reason people hate him. But yeah, that's... You know what I mean? Like, why? It was just so cringy the way they did it. They were like, that's not the same tunnel he came out of. Just that... It's like...
Show, don't tell, dickheads.
Yeah, that was like WWE level, like a recap, like trying to tell us, that means he's a bad guy now.
He's the freak.
Yeah. But yeah, so that wasn't great either, to be fair. But all in all, I thought it was a thoroughly entertaining episode of Dynamite. It would have got a 4, to be honest, but there was just probably too many things that was I had slight gripes with. I think the MJF swerve stuff was awesome. The opening match was really good as well. And the TNT title match and stuff was decent too. So really good episode, but it's going to get 3.5 from me.
Again, as we typically like to be, Carl, I'm within half a point. I'm going to give it a 3. Still one of the higher rated shows of the week, in all fairness. But
you've knocked half a point off because Darby was on the show, haven't you? That's what it is.
Because he didn't get his ankle, but I'm just kidding. That's way too much. I didn't want him to get his ankle broke. It's fine.
You're a terrible person.
No, it's a 3. It was a decent show. It's probably the best one of the week, not including Revolution, obviously. And yeah, I can't justify giving it any more than that in my head.
Okay, that is fair.
So let's talk about SmackDown, shall we?
Lay the SmackDown on me. So
interestingly, this week, as far as the card goes, we have Edge opening the show with Daniel Bryan. Promos. Love it. Obviously, it still kind of revolves around Roman, but it wasn't Roman himself, so that's interesting. First match of the night, we have the Street Profits and the Mysterios going up against, what are they called? Alpha Academy and Ziggy and Rude, with Street Profits and Mysterios taking a win. We then saw Cesaro going up against Murphy, Buddy, with Cesaro taking a win due to a disqualification. We then have the Kevin Owens show featuring Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. We then subsequently have a match between Banks and Belair going up against Tamina and Natalya, with Tamina and Natalya taking the win. We had the IC title on the line this week, Carl, with Big E going up against Sami Zayn, and Big E took the win. And then we closed the night out with a nice old Bryan and Roman Reigns segment thing, contract signing thing, whatever it was. And that's how we close the night on doing some talky talks. So, highlights, Carl. Highlights. Honestly, Big E cutting a nice impassioned promo of sorts against Apollo. Obviously, Apollo's turned heel and talking shit. And this actually started to slightly get me invested in their match. So I think he did a better job than he's done in a while. Credit where credit's due, Carl.
Did you need to come down the ring with a fucking neck brace and a fucking leg thing and all this other fake shit just to go, ha?
Credit where credit's due, Carl. He cut a good promo. I'm not saying it was perfect. He did good. He did. Come on, give him some credit.
Big E, more like Big F.
He's a guy who spent the last
Big
6 years throwing pancakes.
F.
He's got to get used to this new world he's in. And I think he did a good job.
Fail. F.
Fucking wrong. You're fucking wrong.
You're wrong.
Do you know what? Opening promo, I want to give a highlight to, because Bryan and Edge, not something I don't know if we had it previously. I don't remember having it previously.
Never.
Work so fucking well together.
I want to see it
so believable. And I'm probably more hyped for them two going at it, which is probably going to be at Fastlane, than I am for Mania against Roman, in all honesty. Like, they sold this so well, and I'm here for this. This is good. It's good stuff, and I need to give it credit. And I love the fact that they've actually gone. It kind of revolves around the whole main event scene and Roman in a way, but we don't need to have Roman involved in this. And I just realised that I think they might have actually booked Bryan going up against Roman for Fastlane, so I don't think we're going to get Bryan Edge, actually. So apologies for that.
Yeah, because partly I was thinking, are we now going to see Daniel Bryan inserted into the WrestleMania thing and make it a triple threat? But I don't know if I want to see that. I'd quite like to see two individual matches.
Yeah, that's the thing. I want a really good match between Bryan and Edge, and I want a really good match against Edge and Roman. So,
because part of me's thinking they're going to do this so that Daniel Bryan can eat the pin, and then we get Edge as the new champ. Because they wouldn't make Roman lose and be pinned.
No. But then what's Uso there for? Insert him, let him eat pins. It's all good.
Well, that's it. I can't decide whether they're going to do something, because I'm going to call it now. Jimmy Uso is going to come back at Fastlane, and he's going to cost Daniel Bryan the match. So I can't decide whether they're going to do Kevin Owens and Daniel Bryan versus the Usos at WrestleMania, or whether Kevin Owens just does something else completely, and who knows?
I need Bryan and Edge at some point. It's going to be really good, and they're clearly building some sort of feud between the two of them. So come on, we got to have this happen.
Come on, you dickheads.
Come on. So I've got two shites, because I'm not going to harp on about the night. It was okay, but two things that really bug me. Tamina pinning Bianca Belair. I don't care how you book it, and I mean no disrespect to Tamina, but Tamina pinning somebody that you're trying to build momentum for was a fucking bad idea. This does not help. Yeah. Don't have her eat the pin. Don't have Tamina fucking do it. I don't know what they wanted from this, but this was just such a bad call. Like, I'm trying to be respectful to Tamina and Natalya. Have been there for ages. You know, they are veterans, and they are the good women's wrestlers. I'm not trying to disrespect, but both of them have the way they've been booked over the last 6-7 years nearly. That might be extreme. 6 years, 5, 4, whatever. The length of time they've been booked, where they're just there to be either some sort of comic foil or some sort of stupid gimmick, or turn up randomly to enter a karaoke contest and then you never see them again, Tamina. I just don't get why you'd give those sort of people who've been booked that way the pin over somebody you're legitimately trying to say is a threat to Sasha Banks for the title. Yeah. What were they thinking, Cal?
Not ideal.
And I'm aware that shenanigans were involved, but I don't care. Don't do the pin. Fucking hell, you're quite happy to DQ shit most of the time. Do that.
That is true. That is very true.
So that was the main sort of irk. The next one I've got is what's the whole Murphy thing now?
Oh, who knows?
Is he mates with Rollins? They've not explicitly saying like he's back in the fold with Rollins. Why would you go anywhere near Rollins after everything? Like, we did a whole storyline where he ran away with a teenage girl, right? Oh, maybe that's why, because they want us to forget about that. Like, this is the problem. Like, we're not mentioning it at all now. Like, he ran off into the sunset with Aaliyah. Now he's come back. They don't mention it. He never interacts with the Mysterios that I recall. He's not been back long enough, but maybe. But and now he's like almost like he's trying to get back in with Rollins, which I don't get. Why is he even in the Cesaro match? Why not just leave Rollins to fucking deal with it? Got away from that. You chewed your leg out of that bear trap. What the fuck are you doing? So, yeah, don't understand. Just the whole booking with Murphy. It's like, we have no idea what to do with you, so we're going to put you back there. Bad time for Buddy. So that's my only other O'Shea, Carl. Unless you have any other notes, the week was there. It wasn't the best SmackDown. It wasn't the worst. It was just kind of there. You know, there was stuff happening, but those are the only two things that really pissed me off, unless you have any others.
I mean, the only other thing I could potentially comment on is Kevin Owens just I don't know, just such an underutilization of him, isn't it? Kevin Owens show again.
I'm actually baffled how they're going to get him to Mania. I really am.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm going to be surprised if he does get to jump off there. He probably won't even get booked. Insane.
He might
He's
just
doing
have
nothing.
the KO show off there.
Yeah, like, well,
at the end.
Yeah. Well, I thought I would end the KO show with a symbol of my career. Just jumps off the fucking thing.
Fucking nosedive.
Yep.
No, I really like Kevin Owens, and it's a shame that they've not, like, they don't seem to have anything meaningful for him going towards Mania at this point, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's shocking. To me. I mean, to be like, it's kind of the same with AJ Styles on Raw. He's another one who's fantastic.
Actually,
he's
got a really interesting parallel there.
So unless they put Triple H with him, which is obviously being rumored as like a dream match or whatever for AJ and Triple H for some reason, then you've got to argue.
For some reason, you're clearly not invested in that idea.
Yeah, I'm not. Not invested.
Love it. So all being said, then, Carl, my rating for this particular SmackDown is a 2.
I will also say it was a number 2. No, yeah, 2 out of 5 seems fair. Yeah, 2 out of 5 seems fair, to be fair. Like, the opening I thought was fantastic. There were some decent matches on there as well, but yeah, it was just bland, wasn't it? To be fair.
Exactly. Well, it's like even that, like, I don't class it as an shite because it was still a passable match, but like, you've got a match with the Mysterios and Street Profits and like so many parts involved and could have been fast paced and exciting. It didn't really hit me radar in that sense. It was there. It was an okay match. Like that's what they ended with. And considering how many people were involved, and technically that should have been produced quite. There should have been a lot of concentration on producing that, should I say, because you have to be very careful when there's so many moving parts. But it didn't even merit being bad either. It was just there. It's just strange.
Bizarre.
But that was it. That was SmackDown, and that was This Week in Wrestling, Carl.
It was, and that was the show.
That was
4 segments, and that's why it's 12:30 at night, because dedication, because we love
dedication.
But yeah, another week in the can. We thank you for taking the time to listen or to watch us. If you haven't done already, enter our Instagram giveaway. You could win a WWE t-shirt of your choice. Also, follow us on the other places that I forget that we're on. We're on places. Follow us.
We're everywhere, man. We're everywhere.
We're everywhere.
But get yourself on the gram, as the kids like to say.
Get on the gram.
And, you know, follow us for starters, because that's how you got to start this thing off. But then have a look at the competition. All the instructions are there. You could win a free t-shirt. Yeah. You could.
And we're going to draw the winner of that giveaway during our live
I must draw you.
WrestleMania Night 2. Yeah, we're going to draw you like, you know, one of the French girls. But no, we were going to choose the winner of that giveaway during our live stream on Twitch on Night 2 of WrestleMania. So you can look out for that then, and hopefully you will be a lucky winner. But that is it for a week. For this week. I don't know. Can't talk.
For another week.
I shut down after midnight. I'm like a gremlin.
Don't feed him, for God's sake.
But yeah, we hope you've enjoyed yourself as much as we have, and we will see you this time next week. Take it easy, one and all.
And here's some funky music.
You're watching or listening
to A to the K.
The A2theK.
A2theK. A2theK.
A2theK. These guys are awesome. Check it out.
Check it out. Change your life. You'll be thanking me later.